my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and this part falls into the latter category. Today I'm going to be talking about my 2024 book blanket. She's done, she is completed, and she is the easiest book blanket I've ever done. If you want information about the setup for the book blanket and how I plan my book blankets and that kind of thing, I have a video about it. It is from last year when I started the 2024 book blanket. You can check that out. It's very in-depth, or I try to be in-depth, and I also have a whole playlist of crochet things there, which I do crochet, so that is my preferred form of making a book blanket, is crochet. I have seen people do knitting, and I've seen people do quilting and all kinds of things, and I think that is amazing. It's also very interesting to see people picking up making book blankets and talking to like people that know me in real life about it, and be like, oh, this is where I found out about it, and my friends are like, I know her. It's very silly, but I have finished. She's done. She's finished. She's huge. Not as big as my others, though. Definitely smaller than the others. She will be getting hung up, much like this one did. She's going to get hung up, more than likely anyway, in my guest bedroom, because my guest bedroom has these colors pretty specifically. So it's either going to get laid on the bed for when people are not there, or hung up on the wall. I haven't decided yet. I'm not in a rush to figure that out. This is the third book blanket that I've made, and as always I learn a lot about things like my reading trends and the things that I like visually the best, and ways that I can make the book blanket process easier. I think that the last 2 years, the first year, obviously, I had no idea what I was doing. I overdid it. It is one of my favorite blankets to, like, lay with, but it is ugly. My first year, ugly. 2022? Yeah, 2022's book blanket. She's bad, but she's comforting, and I like her. 2023's book blanket is what is on the wall behind me. I overdid it. I did too big. I didn't plan appropriately for that. I didn't, just think those things through very well, and so for 2024 I kind of was like, no, I need to sit down and actually like plan this more effectively than what I did here. Here I at least planned the colors and didn't just like go in willy-nilly. So this, obviously, I planned the colors with my friends, and then I went in and looked for temperature blankets, because that is a big thing that people do, where they, you know, track the temperatures in a year and they crochet those things. So I looked at temperature blanket patterns, because I thought that that would be a good way for me to do the mood blanket, especially because that is literally what the mood blanket is based on, is people doing temperature blankets. And that's when I found the for me, this is a 12-point star blanket. A lot of times people do like a 6-point star, and they come out to be these really pretty blankets. Now, something I will say is I fucked up repeatedly enough that when this is laid down, it is not flat. And I think it's because I would like add stitches or remove stitches kind of at random and by accident, because this is such a thoughtless pattern that I would make very simple mistakes. I would mess up rows or add rows unnecessarily. Like, yeah, things got real tricky there for a bit. A thing I also don't like, and as you can see here, I didn't completely finish cleaning up the strings because it made me want to die. I hated doing it. It's so tedious. I hate that you like do it. You like slip stitch into the previous month, and then you like have to slip stitch like you just into each one, and I hated that. I felt like there had to have been a better way to do it. I didn't figure out a better way, but I felt like there had to be a better way because I hated that. And I also think it looks so ugly on the back. And it made it really hard to like keep track of whether or not I was like doing it right or not. So those are things that I didn't super love about this. But again, it was a nice break, considering year one was just ugly and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't even that good at crochet yet. And then year two, oversized, so much work. Why is she huge? So this was like a nice break. It also, considering the circumstances, I could not afford to buy yarn, and I really only bought yarn twice for this. The very first time, and then when I needed more center yarn. I think the only yarn that I bought extra was the center yarn, and then the color that I picked for fantasy. So good for me, because fantasy is always the color that shows up the most. It is going to be that blue color that you see throughout the whole thing. Like a lot of it, that is going to be a fantasy color. This also did not take a lot of time. Like I could sit down and work on it for 30 minutes and I would have knocked out almost a whole thing. Not a whole thing, but like a lot. It took me about 96 minutes per month for a whole, like from start to finish, and each point is 34 rows. So I did a total of 414 rows, because if you include the center, which had 6 rows in the center. I also have these fun little, and you can see them when I like show that footage if I'm not already showing it, these little wooden things to point out which month each is. I thought that was a really fun way to do it. I did that with all the blankets where I could differentiate between month to month, but this is the most obvious one where it's these little cards. I also really enjoyed seeing like June is when I had friends come, and this white yarn is the filler so that it's all the same length, right? This means I didn't read anything in June. I read fuck all in June. And then like slowly increased again, back to reading a ton again. So it was really interesting to see how that happened. Like I slowly started reading less and less, and then I started reading more and more again. Small break here. But it was really just kind of interesting to see all of that show up in my blanket. The total time that I worked on this was 16 hours, 16 minutes, and 39 seconds, give or take. There were probably times I forgot to time it, but that's about how long it took me. So it is a bit of a commitment to a project, because like you're committing to this project not being done until the end of the year. And I think that book blankets work really well for me because of how in-depth I plan my TBRs. So like I could technically go, it's currently January 24th, I could technically go ahead and do most of February's and most of March's book blanket blocks for next year's book blanket, for the 2025 book blanket, because my TBRs are already planned out or in the process of being planned out. So I think it works really well for me in that instance. I don't think that would work for other people. But if you like working on a project like day by day as you read, then I can see how it would be fun for you. It would make me crazy because I wouldn't know how much yarn I would need. So that would make me a little crazy. But overall though, I'm very pleased with this project. It's very fun. Nobody thinks it's as impressive as I do. Everybody likes the other book blankets better, but that's okay. This is also very, very soft. And I'm also glad that I made the decision to do like a fun yarn for the things I read less of. So like nonfiction and I think it was other or romance. It was other, like the things I mark as others, like historical, contemporary, etc. Those got a sparkly yarn. And the only other thing that got a sparkling yarn was the filler. And so I would just have these like random pops of sparkles, and I thought that was really, really fun, and I'm really glad about it. And I have a ton of yarn left over. I was cleaning out my container that I keep my yarn for my book blanket in, and I have a ton of yarn. I have like a full skein of, almost a full skein of this left over, almost a full skein of this left over. I have these. Like I have a ton of yarn left over, which is cool, I guess. It just means that I will have these to use for other projects if I want to. And they're super soft yarns, so I'm not mad about it. The yarns are from Hobby Lobby because that's what's close to me, because I didn't want to commit to ordering anything online. And yeah, overall, if I were going to rank my book blankets, I actually would say that for enjoyment, not appearance, enjoyment, this is my favorite book blanket. I enjoyed this one the best. Despite the like mistakes or whatever, this was truly the one that I could do the most passively, and it didn't feel overwhelming at any point. At no point was I like, I do not want to work on this anymore. I enjoyed every time I picked this up, and I cannot say the same for the other book blankets. Putting that thing together, at the end, I was like, I hate this. I'm not having fun anymore. There was no point where, actually no, there's one point, and it's the cleaning up the back. I did not enjoy that. But that was it. And you know, that's kind of optional. So that's kind of up to you if you want to do it that way. One thing I will say also is the pattern is mostly written for right-handed people, and as a left-handed person, there took some like finagling and figuring things out. But despite that, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, if I was gonna rank them on enjoyment, it would be like this one, and then this one, and then the last one, or the very first one I ever did. If I was gonna do them on appearances, it would be this one, and then this one, and then the first one I ever did I wouldn't even put it on the list. It's so ugly. But yeah, I think it's cool. I also think it made me realize that I think I would enjoy doing a temperature blanket at some point, or like a mood blanket. I've thought about doing a mood blanket, so maybe next year, in 2026, maybe I'll do a mood blanket. We'll see. But that's it. That is the wrap up for my 2024 book blanket. She's short, she's sweet. If you want to know about the genre breakdown, like what these all like are, my 2024 wrap-up video talks about all of the genres I read, which are represented here. If you have no idea what any of these things mean or what I'm talking about, I have a whole bunch of videos about it, so you can go watch any of those. I just don't want to have to explain myself more than once, so here we are. I will have the 2025 book blanket video up sometime soon, I think in the next couple of months, where I will show you what book blanket I'm doing and what it's going to look like. And hopefully by the time it is up, I will have January already finished, so you can kind of get an idea of it. But I'm very excited about the appearance of the 2025 book blanket. I'm already annoyed by it because it's much more complex than probably anything that I've done, but it's coming out to be a lot of fun, so stay on the lookout for that if this kind of thing appeals to you. If you've made a book blanket or want to make a book blanket, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it, or I can answer any questions that you might have about it, about the process and the planning and all of that. Just let me know. I'd love to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. If you did not enjoy this video, let me know how I can make it better for you. Maybe, unless it has something to do with me as a person, then I'm not changing that. And I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every single week except the first full week of the month. And that's it. I hope you guys are having a great day. Okay, thanks, bye.